In the last ag census, we learned that more than a third of those in agriculture are female. That share has dipped a little, but the new and beginning farmer number is rising, and women are a big reason for the increase. Colleen Bradford-Krantz has more from South Dakota.
As an animal science undergrad at South Dakota State University in the late 1970s, Franny Fritz was so used to seeing nearly all young men in her classes that she would hesitate if she noticed too many women.
My animal science classes, if I walked into a room that had more than 5 women, I'm not kidding, more than 5 women, I'd back out thinking that I'm in the wrong room. Gracious, I'm in the wrong room.
She wasn't fazed by being outnumbered, however, and earned her degree in 1978. She returned to the family dairy farm her mother had been managing in the 5 years since Franny's father had died.
I milked cows for 10 years, Mom and I did. And in '88, it was to the point of get rid of the cows, get rid of the milk cows, or keep the milk cows and get rid of the beef cows, and I chose beef cows.
At 69, she's just completed her 47th calving season, which still involves more than 100 cows. Today, most college agriculture classes look much different than what Fritz experienced nearly 50 years ago. A 2012 study showed women enrolled in all agriculture majors slightly outnumbered men in undergraduate programs at 70 of the nation's land-grant universities. According to USDA, about 1.2 million women now represent about 36% of all producers. In Arizona and Alaska, the percentage of producers who are female sits at 48%, nearly matching their male counterparts. Nationwide data from the most recent Census of Agriculture shows, however, that only 11% of female producers ran a farm alone in 2022, compared to 37% of male producers. Fritz, who received the Dakota Fest Woman Farmer Rancher of the Year award in August at a ceremony in Mitchell, South Dakota, felt many were initially skeptical of her running a ranch on her own, while others were encouraging.
We can learn something new every single day.
She says most skeptics came around after losing the local bet that she wouldn't last a year. But the negative encounters did take their toll, especially in those early years. One moment that stands out happened at a tractor parts counter.
This partsman was not kind to me. He just wasn't. And he could be a pain in the rear end. Well, I went in one day. I was not having a good day. I just flat out wasn't having a good day. I had a list of parts I needed. I didn't know what the given name was for any of the parts, but I could tell him where they belonged. And he started in. And I looked at him and I said, look, you don't want to wait on me. That's fine. I'll stand here until somebody that does want to wait on me waits on me. And it was just like a switch went off on that man, and he's the best partsman today. Isn't that something? Why did I have to do that?
It may have taken years, but she feels she has the community's respect now.
I now can go into a parts place and the partsmen are all there and it's, hi, Franny, you know? Or I can go into Magnus where I sell cattle and they know me there. I'm blessed. I am blessed.
Cheryl Tevis, an agriculture journalist and magazine editor who spent 36 years at Successful Farming magazine, helped Iowa State University and several industry groups when they made plans to bring women involved in agriculture together for monthly meetings starting in 2004.
Women possibly did not feel as welcome or comfortable in going to meetings with other farmers and others, and felt maybe in some cases somewhat inhibited to ask questions, even though the questions they had were probably the same ones that were on the minds of everyone else there.
By 2005, the monthly gatherings evolved to become the nonprofit Iowa Women in Agriculture, which is still going strong 20 years later.
We also heard that women enjoyed learning with other women. It was about sharing experiences and also, being able to have a good laugh.
West Central Iowan Tammy Deal had a father who made a point of asking if she or her sister wanted to take over the family's farm.
Which, if you think back to the late 70s and early 80s, that was kind of unique at that point in time. But Dad was pretty open-minded, and he wanted to give us the opportunity if we wanted to do that.
Neither sister was interested in taking on the job after college. Deal eventually moved to Kansas City and worked in the tech industry. However, when her father became ill in 2011, she decided to move back to Iowa to learn how to run the farm.
Much to my surprise, I think, I ended up finding agriculture just really, really interesting. When Dad had originally asked me, I didn't think it was something I wanted to do at all. And then I knew Dad was needing more help, and so I thought, okay, I'll give this a try. And I'm so glad I did.
She now manages the farm alone, having lost her father in 2016. She crop share leases to 3 younger farm families who grow corn, soybeans, and small grains on the land. Deal now organizes what she calls ladies' lunches, where she brings in guest speakers for other women landowners in Guthrie County. She is also helping introduce a nephew to farm management because he has interests but little background.
And I think a lot of us don't know how very complicated a farmer's job is, but they have to wear so many different hats to be good at their job.
Franny Fritz agrees it's important that both men and women be encouraged to at least consider agriculture.
Find something that you have an inner peace with. I don't care what it is, but if you have an inner peace and you're just peaceful, yeah, we all have bad days. Yeah, the world can feel like you've been dumped on really bad. But if you have that inner peace, you'll get through it.
Good story. And by the way, about half of all the farms in Mississippi had female producers, women clearly a force in Mississippi agriculture.